You're entering Corsi Nation.
This is Jerome Corsi today. It's Friday. It's April 18th, 2025. Today is Good Friday. We must all take time out of our lives to worship and honor our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ on this day of his crucifixion. And I hope everyone will have an opportunity to bow their heads this afternoon in memory of the great sacrifice our Lord and Savior gave that we may be redeemed. Let's get into the news. This is CorsiNation.com, and you can follow me on X at CorsiJerome1. On Substack, it's JeromeCorsiPhD.substack.com. And we're doing Substack almost every day. We're issuing something on Substack. Okay, the first story I want to cover is this El Salvador story, and it has become a real fiasco. I mean, if you take a look at this nonsense that's going on in El Salvador, the Democrats have just gone gaga over MS-13 gang members. Isn't this wonderful? I mean, Chris is showing you. We have one of the clips here. Why don't you come on, Chris, and describe this? This is worth a little humor. What do we have here, Chris?
Well, what we have right now is Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and he came from the tough, the mean prisons of El Salvador. Apparently, is now hanging out with a Senator Van Hollen, who decided to make a virtue signaling trip to El Salvador. And he's having some serious margaritas with the guy. Yeah. So I thought this guy was in this horrible jail with the MS-13ers and the Tren-de-Araguas and everything else. And all of a sudden, he's shaking hands with a prominent for the week U.S. senator.
Yeah, this guy's a fool. This Van Hollen is a complete jerkhead. Democrat, lefty, communist. Doesn't like the United States of America, but not poor, by the way. Wonder where he got his millions.
Mm-hmm.
And so here he is sitting down, and they're having, of course, he doesn't speak any Spanish, so he's got to have an interpreter. And three of them are sitting down at the table with margaritas.
And our interpreter looks like Alex Soros, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does look like Alex Soros. And so the Democratic Party now is the party of terrorism. They want us to be terrorized by MS-13 gangs. They're going to have AOC, their presidential candidate, and they're going to have Karl Marx as their vice presidential candidate.
Well, think about this. The leftists, the Democrats are still looking for a leader. So every minor, lesser-known senator or Congress member is going to try to take any opportunity to get a camera in front of them. This is what's happening right now.
Well, I just hope they continue, because the more Maxine Waters, the more Al Green, the more nutcases, the more Chuck Schumers. I mean, these people want to kill babies. Let's have more abortion right after the time when the baby's born. Maybe even after the baby's born, just kill it. We don't need no stinking babies. Okay, and then old people. Well, let's get euthanasia in the nursing homes, or better yet, just inject them all, or do whatever you want to do to them, but get rid of them. Do something to get rid of them.
His eyes are beaming. You see that here? His eyes are beaming at the guy. Like, oh, I love this guy.
Yeah, he's, Van Hollen's got a love fest here with what did this guy do? This guy is a mother raper, father raper, baby raper, killer.
Well,
this guy, a Democratic star is born.
Right, a Democrat star. Yeah, that's what
Democrat star is born.
Right. He's their latest cause, the new thing, if you will.
Yeah, but he's got competition. This Luigi Mangione, who killed an insurance executive or something in New York. He just came up and popped him one day.
Popped him, yeah. Basically, a guy comes up to another guy he doesn't know and kills a father and a family man.
Yeah,
That's
and so
happened.
He's now indicted with the death penalty. He's very much on the table. Of course, the left loves him too. They think he's just wonderful. I mean, because it looks Italian, and he's so Attorney General Pam Bondi announced that the Justice Department will be seeking the death penalty for Luigi Mangione, who shot the CEO of United Healthcare in the back on a New York City sidewalk. Okay, Political Playbook announced that this would be how Trump would lose Generation Z. Oh, Political, by the way, has been funded by grants through this USAID and all these other organizations. The Democrats have learned how to take money we don't have, deficit spend, and then put it through the agencies and get it to their non-governmental organizations, NGOs, which then funds organizations like Black Lives Matter and Democratic politicians like this guy Van Hollen. So Political playbook is framing the Trump administration seeking the penalty for his cold blood murderer Mangione, how Trump loses Gen Z. Well, Mangione deserves to fry. This guy, just because he looks Italian like he's a movie star doesn't mean that the Democrats have to fall in love with him. But I forgot. The Democrats love killers. They love murderers. They love rapists. They love everything evil. Abortionists. They love abortionists. Why don't they run abortion? Maybe an abortionist could run as their head of their party for president. What do you think?
Haven't they done that already several times?
Oh, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
these.
Oh, not abortionist, but abortion fan. That's right. Okay.
Oh yeah, of course they have.
I always say pro-abortion. That's right. I get you
Yeah.
going. An abortion doctor.
So the left is pissed. They're going to cry, and the whole world's going to say to the left, "You guys are nuts." And by the way, it looks like Harvard's going to lose its tax-exempt status, which they should lose. Okay, I'm a Harvard graduate. Okay, I'm saying I got a PhD from Harvard. 1972 in political science, Department of Government. And I bet Harvard's been asked about that more times than anybody else ever. Does Corsi really have a PhD from Harvard? Yes. Okay, well, look, Harvard, you want to support communism and anti-American traitorism, DEI, ESG, any leftist nonsense you can think of. You've got Larry Tribe over there in your law school emeritus, who concocted lawfare. Democratic Party in control of the universities. First was communist. Now it's traitorous. Hates the United States.
They still have Claudine Gay over there too, by the way.
Yeah, how much are they paying Claudine Gay? How much she making?
What was it? I know it's in the high six figures. That if I'm correct, that's the high six figures.
Yeah, right. Okay, and she's the plagiarist, right? She's the one who can't produce her plagiarist.
Yep. And she was defending DEI rather poorly, I should say, in Congress.
Okay. Well, Harvard's going to cry over losing its money and its endowment and all the rest of it. But if these universities need to close, they're just producing leftist hate America to totalitarianism, and with racism. If they're black, they're good. If they're white, they're evil. White supremacists who are those who like the Latin Mass among Catholics. These people are evil. It's time to get rid of them. Okay, so the FDA is now finally rid of the big pharmacy people, although I'm not so sure that, I think Robert Kennedy is just getting a hold of the department, and I would encourage the administration to let Robert Kennedy pick his own people, and not to be shoving people down his throat because of somebody is, cleaning out these agencies now is going to be difficult. And Pam Bondi, you got to take. Here's how I would approach it. Okay, can you imagine how I would approach it? Probably not, but
most likely.
Most likely. Okay, so first of all, you call them in. First thing you do, they should have done day one, is say, I want everybody's resignation on my desk tomorrow morning at 9:00. And if you don't have your resignation, you're terminated. If I don't get your offer of resignation, you're terminated. Okay, so that's deal number one. So I expect everybody to turn in their resignation. Then I'd have some of them being interviewed, and if they're there and they say, we're here to help you, we're on your agenda, out of here. Get out of here. I want to see what you did in the last 4 years. Bring me your case files. And then if they try to hide them, or if they try to deny they were working on Crossfire Hurricane, or that they were in the Russian collusion investigation, or they were hand in hand with, Mueller's investigation, this whole thing needs to go. And I'm going to start writing some articles here about how they did the tag teaming, that Comey gets a corporate position with one of the major companies, and then Mueller gets it. They switch off back and forth. Who's head of the FBI? I've written about that before. I remember how they did that, enriching each other, and then running the FBI, and having the FBI become a politically weaponized organization. Thank you, Eric Holder, another, Democrat, communist, traitor, hating America, hating white people. These people are filled with hate. And by the way, I'm delighted to see Obama crash and burn. The Obama saga has now turned into not, he, she, it, but it turned into, or the birth certificate, which now people are acknowledging that we did find the original birth certificate from which Obama's was copied. Some of the information was transferred over from another birth certificate that I found in Hawaii. You could see, because the forensic labs showed character for character, much of the information was just copied from this birth certificate, the original, and put onto Obama's, and then the rest of the information filled in. Okay, and they didn't do a very good job of it, because you could move the fields all around in the birth certificate. It was a very sloppy job. Fake. But we've moved on from that. Now the current Obama saga, with his many, many mansions, that as Bible says, my house has many mansions in it. Well, Obama may never get there, but he's got his mansions here, and Satan does provide, doesn't he, to those who serve him. Yesterday we had Craig Lund on, and Craig did, I thought, a brilliant job. Let me grab the book here for a minute. So Craig's book here, I want to see, let me get the, hold on, right here, Silicon Satan. The thing about Obama and Biden is that they both like these ice creams. What's the big deal with the ice creams? Is it a pedophile thing? I mean, what's the deal? And and Biden dropped his ice cream into, it did it onto his suit or something. He dropped part of his ice cream yesterday. I mean, this guy is, they take him out in public. Silicon Satan, get all the mansions you want here. Just bow to Satan, worship Satan. This is a brilliant novel, and I want everybody to read it. It's tough to read in terms of everything it's exposing, but you need to know who these people really are. So there's Obama with more ice cream, shoving it into his face.
By the way, who thought it was such a great idea for Joe Biden to come out and speak? That the world needed to hear from this guy.
Do we have any clips of him? I mean, I don't know if anybody ever recorded him. We're now finding out how much they edited his interview with the special counsel, and the White House did that. Of course, I don't know that Joe Biden remembers this, that he talked to the special counsel, because that's another whole deal. And we have more ice cream, another ice cream picture.
It's ice cream day.
What is it with these guys that think it's such a big deal to be seen eating ice cream? I mean,
it's a Democrat.
If we ask Craig Lund, Craig would say, you see all these symbols all the time, but once you begin to understand the Satanism, you understand what they're signaling. There we go, another ice cream. Well, hey, children, I give you ice cream cones. Just come see Daddy.
Oh, well, the windowless van. There we go.
Yeah. It goes on and on. All the time they're taken with ice cream cones. Biden, show some more pictures of Biden with ice cream. I mean, it's unbelievable. And you can see Biden kissing and sniffing little girls. I mean, these people are signaling. And the pedophilia is rampant. Another book.
Yep.
I mean, we've covered with Mike McCormick, and we've done a lot with Mike McCormick about the evil here that's rampant. The Vatican, Pope Francis, LGBT. Well, they didn't kill Pope Francis, did they? They were gonna. But then again, the Catholic Church has decided maybe, there we go, Joe Biden with more ice cream and aviator glasses. Isn't this cool?
That's what makes him look cool, the aviator glasses.
Aviator glasses.
And don't think those didn't help him win the presidency. You had a lot of young or liberals trying to hang their hat on somebody. Thought, wow, he looks cool in those glasses.
One of the presidency was all the votes they stole with the algorithms in the 2020 election.
That too, but to make it feasible, you had to think that the lowest common denominator was he looks cool in sunglasses, and that's
Yeah,
basically what it is. So yeah, you have to. There's the reasonable doubt they have to add to that.
but it just, I mean, all this ice cream stuff. Show pictures in with the little girls. If you have any of those with a little sniffing little hair, there's more ice cream.
There's so much of the ice cream here. Let's see.
What is he, racist? What, they're all eating vanilla ice cream. Why don't they eat chocolate?
That's a good point. It's racist. Here we go.
Racist. They're eating racist ice cream.
Let's see
Their
what's this-
favorite vanilla.
Okay, what's he doing here?
These
Now,
guys
this one-
are these guys are complete fools and idiots. I mean, what another picture of Joe Biden? Let's get another picture of
Well,
him.
I have to make sure that I get the cleaner ones, the ones that aren't doctored, because there are a couple of those that are in there.
Out there.
And you know how Google is with the. Here's one for you. You know how Google is with his sniffing hair pictures. They kind of try to pull those down, hide them, that sort of thing.
Well, we
So,
don't need to show them. That's okay. We talked about it. That's enough.
you know,
And
this
or
one-
Biden with ice cream. Biden with ice cream. Aviator glasses ice cream.
here's another one. This one's coming. A selfie with
A
ice cream.
selfie with
With
ice
ice
cream.
cream.
Oh boy, I'll tell you. These guys would be a joke, except that they are not, that they're evil. Okay, let's move on. Enough of this. Enough of these guys. We're seeing some developments internationally. There's a development with Rubio and negotiations. Let's cover that. What's Rubio saying about the negotiations with the Europeans?
Well, Rubio is kind of tired of, I guess, like most of us, he's getting tired of the Europeans and their own interests when it comes to negotiations, Russia, Ukraine. Honestly, letting them letting them letting them be involved in this is kind of a gift, kind of a charity thing by the U.S. because they really have not done much to quell the war.
They've done
All they've been
nothing.
doing was trying to get us to fund it.
Well, let's see. Let's go to let's see what, if you got a clip here or something, an article on Rubio. Let's put it up, because what I want to read specifically what Rubio is saying. I know Rubio is over there trying to say the negotiations with the Europeans are not going well, and I think that this is, the truth is that Trump is ready to abandon Ukraine. So the Guardian is saying U.S. ready to abandon Ukraine peace deal if there's no progress. Okay, they make it sound like there's a rift between the United States and Russia.
Right,
Okay,
right. And
but-
even most of the headlines make that sound like that. Yes, this is Newsmax with Rubio here, and let's see. It says
Well, Well, it says, speaking in Paris on Friday after meeting European and Ukrainian leaders, Rubio said Donald Trump was interested in a deal, but he added that the president had many other priorities around the world. Now, what they're basically saying is that Ukraine wants to continue the war, and the Europeans want to continue funding, get funding from Europe, and they're counting on. Now, I guess Germany is given another range of these long-range missiles to Zelensky to fire into Russia, and Russia's saying if Ukraine does that, Russia's at war with Germany. Okay, so again, the war has the potential to expand, although Trump is saying that Zelensky is going to sign this rare earth mineral deal next week. Now, I'll believe that when it happens, because Zelensky's life is on the line. He's already given the rare earth minerals to the oligarchs in Ukraine, specifically Pinochet and Kolomoisky. Pinochet, I keep reminding everybody, was the original Ukrainian oligarch who supported Hillary in 2013 when she was Secretary of State with her private email server, so she could simultaneously run through Bill Clinton, the Clinton Foundation. They could collect on bribery, pay us, and then you'll get State Department favors. That was okay with them, and it was okay with Biden, and it was okay with Obama, because Obama said to Hillary and Bill Clinton, you can have the Clinton Foundation, and Biden, you can have China and Ukraine and steal all the money you can get. Okay, so Trump says that Ukraine owes $300 billion, And Zelensky says, no, that was a grant, a loan, not a loan. Well, okay, so the United States is demanding that this, rare earth minerals, which China is now trying to hold up, and China's trying to say, well, we're going to put a tariff on rare earth minerals. That's an act of war by China. Okay, so, basically all these people are going to capitulate because all Trump has to do is quit funding Ukraine. And we quit funding Ukraine, Zelensky's dead, maybe literally. If he doesn't deliver to Pinochet and Kolomoisky, good things don't happen to you when you don't deliver to the mob. Right, Chris?
Oh, I know. Oh, wait, are you asking the Italian that question?
Yeah. Well,
that's racist. I'm just kidding.
Well, let's go to so I think Trump is on to this. I'm just going to quit funding these people and quit
It's
funding
true.
NATO.
Yeah.
And, France is able to put armed forces in Ukraine to fight Russia. They'd be better off running a transgender parade up and down the Eiffel Tower.
And none of these people care about the rank and file regular residents who are caught in all the crossfire of these egos. Every one of them.
Destroy the middle classes, what these people are about, and steal the money.
Right.
So we have now the Italian prime minister who is in the United States talking to Trump yesterday, and Trump gave a very gracious reception, I thought. Let's play a couple clips. We have a clip, don't we, to play of the speech.
Yep, Georgia Meloni. She spoke, and here she is.
Okay, let's hear what she had to say.
Propaganda machine predicted that a conservative government would have isolated Italy, deleting it from the map of the world, driving away investors, and suppressing fundamental freedoms. They were wrong. Their storytelling was fake. The reality is that Italy is thriving. Employment is at a record high. Our economy is growing. Our fiscal policy is back on track. And the flow of illegal migration has decreased by 60% in the last year. And most importantly, we're expanding freedom in every aspect of Italians' lives.
Okay. Italy and Hungary and other countries are beginning to break apart from the EU. The EU is beginning to break apart, and it can't happen fast enough for me. I mean, I've been at this, and so the EU is in disarray. It's in economic disarray. The economies of these countries are going to collapse, especially with the tariffs being imposed, and they're still on net zero, and they are overrun by Islamic settlers that they've allowed to come into the country to demand Sharia law. Chris, you want to comment? I mean, this, as far as I can see, this is a disaster, and and as far as I can see, the whole structure here of what's going on is that you have a falling out of these different European countries, largely over continuing to fund Ukraine, trying to support their middle classes, all of these things. And, the process of deterioration here is going to accelerate. It's going to accelerate economically. Countries like Italy and Hungary, I think, have a much better chance of returning to being Italy and Hungary and not the EU. Chris, what do you think? I mean, the EU, has outlived its purpose, and NATO's outlived its purpose. I think Trump is a radical force showing the corruption that we have in these old institutions that are falling apart.
Well, let's take this a step. Let's take this on another level here. Where is that line where proper immigration and even civ immigration, like we have here, when does it become displacement? I was reading an article in Zero Hedge as well, where Vienna. Let's go to Vienna, Australia, where the Freedom Party is raising quite an alarm here. Statistics are showing that Muslim students in Vienna account for 41.2% of all students. 41.2. That's a high plurality. And when you find that Christian students in a traditionally Christian area fell to 34.5. Traditionally Judeo-Christian area, excuse me, 34.5%. Think about that. Muslims are another plurality in schools in Vienna.
Yeah, well, you've got so much, I think, corruption in Europe and so much decay that the EU is on no solid foundation. And if it can't extract money from all these countries and survive in Brussels and Luxembourg with all these unelected officials trying to run the EU, the EU, I think, is saying we're done with the illegal immigrants. In this case, Muslims. Muslims do not want to integrate into these countries. Great Britain is now overwhelmed with the Muslims. Okay, and the Muslims aren't working. They're demanding to be taken care of by the state, and then they're demanding to have Sharia law. Okay, so Europe is on a downhill, clearly headed, I think, straight downhill. Okay, now, Trump yesterday was saying that he's really tired of Powell at the Federal Reserve. He's not happy with him. Interest rates should be down now, which they should. Okay, but Powell is there. He said, "You can't fire me, Mr. President." Yeah, well, wait and see, Powell. Wait and see. Who can fire whom. And Donald Trump is, I think, now getting control and realizing that the judiciary has no enforcement power. By the way, John Roberts, you country club anti-Trump big mouth. The Supreme Court has no enforcement mechanism either. Our Constitution intended it that way. If you look at the Federalist Papers, there's a long discussion between Jefferson and Hamilton about the court, and what Jefferson was worried about was judicial tyranny. So he said the court going to have no enforcement power. So all these judges can make whatever ruling they want, and Trump can say, "I'm not doing it." Chris?
Yeah, it took a couple seconds to get there, but your panel, Judge Boserberg, is still doing his best to stop everything. Stop him. He also has another guy. What's this? Judge Taiwani? Another.
Well, they're going to hold Trump in contempt.
Right.
They're in contempt.
Right. These two are the ones leading the charge at this point. But the Democrats, they knew this when they were installing people during the Obama and Biden administrations. The idea was to
Soros.
stop. Right. Well, that's true. But they made sure. These people who hired these judges made sure that there were a few in reserve who would try to do the best they can to stop the reversal of their regression into globalism.
Right. They want. Now Democrats are into resistance. They're going to sit there like a bunch of angry, spoiled children, like they did in Congress when Trump addressed the joint session, and they're the women wearing their pink pussy suits. Okay, it's Judge Boasberg. Boasberg ought to be investigated. Boasberg is the judge that did all the FISA court approvals during Operation Crossfire Hurricane. And I've got so many articles to write. I'd like to write an article about Boasberg and point out that all Donald Trump has to do is introduce a motion here to reorganize the federal courts. The federal courts, the circuit courts and the district courts are not constitutionally deemed courts. They are courts that the Constitution said from time to time Congress may establish. So if we reorganize all the courts through a legislative initiative, we put these justices on notice that they may think they have lifetime appointments, but if they don't have a court, they don't have an appointment. So you can fire the entire federal judiciary and have Trump reappoint it. Get rid of all these people. The same thing they're doing now to Letitia James. Yeah, she deserves it, Chris. I mean, look at what she did to Trump.
Well, think about this. Real estate fraud. That is what she's being accused of, and she is likely going to be charged with, most likely convicted if the evidence is, if this evidence is being put out there is just the tip of the iceberg here. Think about it. These are the very types of charges that she tried to pull on President Trump.
Well, the whole idea here is that, the corruption in the judiciary system is rampant. And the FBI is, again, dysfunctional. I don't know whether Bondi and Patel and Bongino are capable of cleaning it out. It's going to take somebody like Elon Musk to do it, because they're not capable of really understanding how the bureaucracy works. The bureaucrats are spending, if you go into a federal office building, and by the way, Trump is, I think, doing a great thing saying, let's sell all the federal office buildings. Let's move the bureaucracy out of Washington. When you do that, 90% of the Beltway crowd stays in the Beltway. Mm-hmm. It's a great way to get rid of the agencies is just move them to Nome, Alaska, or the Mojave Desert.
No.
or Brownsville, Texas. I can think of a lot of good places to put them. And nobody from Washington will go because they like their Beltway little bubble lifestyle. Georgetown,
Oregon. There you go.
Oregon. Put them out, yeah, but don't put them in a nice part of it. Put them out in Bend, Oregon, where it's desert out there. Put them out in the eastern part of Oregon. Don't let them have the Willamette Valley. Okay, so I want now to shift gears and go to the economy. The gold price again is just soaring. Gold is now $3,338 an ounce, headed rapidly to $4,000 an ounce, and silver is at $32 an ounce today. Okay, so since I've been talking about this, you could have made a lot of money in gold and silver had you listened. Okay, and the whole point here is that if we work with Swiss America, if you start working with Swiss America, and Chris, show the book. I want to comment on the book. If you start working with Swiss America, and you can get a copy of this free book, how the coming global crash, I wrote it 2 years ago. I saw this coming. It's going to create a historic gold rush. Read the book and understand the dynamics of what's really going on in the world debt crisis. And the number to get this book, call Swiss America, 1-800-519-6268. Write this down. Keep this number, 800-519-6268. 519-6268. The salespeople at Swiss America are consultative selling. And it doesn't matter that you don't have millions of dollars to put in gold and silver. You can still take your IRA, your 401ks, and put them into self-directed IRAs, 401ks. Then you can get some gold and silver to hedge against stock market and bond market losses. You can hold the gold and silver in a Delaware depository where it's you under your name, and it's insured with a Lloyd's of London insurance policy. The gold and silver is really there and has the value that you purchased it at. It will be worth its current market value. And I'm predicting its current market value is only headed upwards right now. The stock market, let's see where the stock market closed yesterday, because again, stock market closed yesterday at 39,142. Okay, that's Dow Jones Industrial Average. Okay, so the trading, I think, today is going to be slow, but I doubt if it's going up. I'm telling you, the stock market's going to be trading at 35,000, which means it will have lost about 10,000 points from its height. That's trillions of dollars in capital lost. Okay, that's going to hurt, and it's going to be painful. But the bubbles that we have are bubbles that cannot be addressed otherwise. And all Biden did was bubble up the dollars. So now we got $34 trillion in national debt, which is unsustainable. And our bonds aren't worth what the paper they're printed on, because we just pay them off with more bonds. And pretty soon we'll get a downgrade on the bonds, and you're going to find that we're going to have to pay more interest to get the bonds sold. The bond market is also teetering. The crash is going to occur, and you're warned. If you don't want to listen, don't. But if you want to listen, call Swiss America. If you go to become a customer, you can also take advantage of this one-time offer of getting up to 250 of these Walking Liberty half dollars. They're about 99.99% silver, and Swiss America is offering them at basically what they're worth in silver. Okay, now that's an opportunity, again, that you shouldn't miss. And secondly, take a look at My Vital C on CorsiNation.com. If you like the program, support our sponsors. My Vital C, I've been taking it for 4 years. It's really a miracle molecule, this carbon-60, which is a carbon nucleus, a nucleus surrounded by 60 carbon atoms in a cage structure that looks like a soccer ball. They call them fullerenes, after Buckminster Fuller. I wrote a book on this called Live Longer and Better. Take a look at the book. Right there's the book, and you can get the book on Amazon.com. But these are really great products. They all revitalize you. They're antioxidant. They have them for cats and dogs. The carbon-60 comes in olive oil, which I prefer, also avocado and coconut oil. They have hair creams. They've got body creams for skin, which are remarkable. on problems like eczema and other problems, which I've had all my life. But they are very, very good products. I use them every day and strongly recommend them to you. Okay, that's myvitalc.com. Okay, let's get now into a few stories that I want to wrap up on. One of them in particular, there's a story about Hamas. Evidently, Hamas is not able to pay its freedom fighters. Okay, freedom fighters mean terrorists. These guys in the green headbands and all the rest. Well, if Hamas is so cash-strapped, it can't pay the terrorists because Iran is under duress, and the IDF is in the process now of killing and cleaning out the Gaza. Okay, with no money, Hamas collapses. With no money, Iran collapses. Okay, and Trump will do a deal with Russia. And the deal will be to Russia essentially, let's not nuke Germany. Rather, let's just bankrupt Germany. Let's just bankrupt the EU. We'll pull the money out. Pull the money out. Oh, and of course, everybody's going to go to court and they're going to say, no, you can't take the foreign aid away. There's no entitlement to receive the foreign aid. There's no entitlement to go to Harvard. There's no entitlement to be DEI. Okay, DEI is not equal opportunity of Martin Luther King. DEI is preference for blacks and other minorities to the detriment of white. It's reverse racism. Okay, and Hamas are terrorists. These aren't freedom fighters. And Donald Trump is right. The solution here is going to be to reconstruct Gaza as a Mediterranean Riviera and to relocate the Gazans voluntarily in countries like Libya. And we've been proposing this. We're going to continue to propose it. The last thing I want to also comment on is a couple stories we wrote this past week. One story, which is an American thinker, about how this port, this deep water port in Chile on the Pacific in South America, my good friend and co-author, Todd Callender, owns the rights to develop this port in one of his portfolios, the Cot World Investment Group, and in the Caribbean. And Todd will sell it to the Chinese. He wants to reorganize his portfolios, but he's offered it to Trump. Now, if Rubio will pay attention, China wants this port to be its landing point for the Belt and Road Initiative in South America. Now, if we're fighting for the Panama Canal, why aren't we also grabbing this port in Chile? We're going to be making a major effort to get this recognized and to be we're not managing our own ports. Since George W. Bush with Dubai ports, if you remember, I fought that. Dubai was going to be managing Long Beach. Well, we don't manage our ports anymore. We've given them all to foreigners. If you lose control of your ports, you lose control of commerce, international commerce. And who knows what kind of terrorist activity can be brought in through the ports. Okay, so Trump is actively trying as fast as he can to clean up all these different areas. The other article I wrote this week is how it was with General Michael Flynn. Finally co-authored a piece with General Flynn, and I was very honored to do so. It was picked up in American Thinker, where it was published, and then picked up by the Gateway Pundit. Thank you very much, Jim Hoft. I really appreciate that. Okay, so when you see these developments, you see how they're going on. What I did with General Flynn was saying that Donald Trump has bypassed Department of Justice. They're not moving fast enough for anybody. You know, they got the slows over there. They got the Bill Barr syndrome. Big talk, bagpipes, no action. Bagpipes, no indictments. Okay, so what's happened is Donald Trump has said to Tulsi Gabbard, we're going to make this a national security investigation, which falls under the Article 2 powers of the Commander-in-Chief, the algorithms in the State Board of Election machines. Donald Trump has now signed a Board of Elections saying states that don't work with him to secure their elections are going to lose funding. Donald Trump's got the key. If you take the money away, the left dies. Take the money away, the terrorists die. Take away money, the war stops in Ukraine. Money is the key. Take the money away, Soros goes away. Take the money away, Al Green goes away. Maxine Waters goes away. AOC goes away. These people fly around in jets, spending $200,000 here, $200,000 there. They don't live the life that they preach. They don't really care to help the poor. They care to exploit the poor and exploit the terrorists. Well, if the Democratic Party wants to self-destruct, I recommend we give it a microphone and give it center stage. Let the American people see how evil these people are and satanic are their wishes, that we reject them and reject the Supreme Court that won't put God back into the schools. This is Dr. Jerome Corsi. Today it's Good Friday. Let's all remember the sacrifices our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ gave on this earth so we might be redeemed by the grace of God. In the spirit of 2 Chronicles 7:14, let's also use this Easter not only to celebrate that he is risen, but also repent for allowing the world to get into this insane globalist madness, satanic madness. In the end, God always wins. God will win here too. And may God give us the light to see and to do his wishes, to work with Donald Trump, and to restore this country to the greatness we're capable of achieving. Please celebrate this Easter with your families and pray to God for the opportunity we've been given to redeem this country before it was too late. Dr. Jerome Corsi, CorsiNation.com. We're doing podcasts every weekday. Thank you for joining us. God bless.